Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Blues Down Under, courtesy of Mancunian Way. I'm your host, Patrick, and joined by my usual colleagues of Rich and Governor, aka Mark. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good evening.
Good.
That's the way. Thanks, guys. Yes, it is going to be about, probably quite 2 weeks coming up with international break, but I suppose there's light at the end of the tunnel because once this is done, we don't have to worry about these until March, I think, or something. So, just another 2 weeks of surviving through it. But one thing's for certain, I think we can all agree we're still riding a wave of euphoria at the moment, given the results of not just Liverpool, but probably the last week of football, basically. But we'll probably just have a final debrief on everything and see what everybody has to say, because certainly some people out there probably had a bit more of a positive outlook on the season now after what's happened over the last week or so. But yeah, we'll get into it anyway. Just quickly see who's in the chat. Big up to everybody who's involved so far. Of course, don't forget to give a like and subscribe on the way in or on the way up, whichever suits you anyway. Good afternoon to the girl gaffer. Thank you. Rich in the chat. Thank you, mate. All good. And Alf, can't believe how stupid the average football fan is. Bring up clips from 24-25, 6 major rule changes over the Liverpool goal. I get rivalries, but my God, the stupidity is baffling. Absolutely agree with you, mate. It's just amazing how quickly people cherry pick over something so small and think that it's it can be a massive change on the game. You want my honest opinion? If it was going to be a huge impact on the game, then it would be at 1-1 in the 91st minute, not early days in the first half.
If they'd have allowed the goal, we'd have won 4-1. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Then I would have won the tipping because I did pick 3-1.
No, we'd have won 4-1 if they'd have equalised. Because we'd have kept playing. We stopped playing at 3-0. We just cruised. But I think we'd have gone 3-4-1 in about the same amount of time. And in a way, it's good if Liverpool as a club are thinking they lost because of the refereeing decision, because they were absolutely battered. We were 3-0 flat at them. In all honesty, 3-0 flat at them. And if they want to think that result was because of the referee, then seriously, they're deluded. And honestly, I'd rather they think that.
They've actually gone to the PGMO, haven't they? Over it.
Of course they have.
What can they do? What can they change?
They've done it about 10 times. They
Is
do
it?
it every time a decision goes against them. I mean, this is just Liverpool. They are putting pressure by going to PGML. They're just trying to put pressure on decisions going in their favour in future. You know, Klopp did it. What was the thing against Spurs last season where, you know, Klopp was virtually threatening with, or the year before? Yeah, Liverpool do it. It's their modus operandi. If you can't beat them, whine. And you know, if you whine enough, you hope that
you're not going to change it.
The FA are going to be nicer to you in future.
Is that the right one to use, so Rich? Because when everybody looks back on it, that one, I know the one you're talking about with the onside that was offside, or the offside that was well onside. That's a little bit of a different one, because that was even the most anti-Liverpool person would still look at that and go, that's a bit.
This is a club who, when they played us in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, we had a perfectly onside goal disallowed at Anfield. We had a goal disallowed at home where a Liverpool player passed it to the City player, and the City player scored, and the referee didn't know the actual rules of football. We had Mo Salah scoring an offside goal in that game. We've had Trent Alexander-Arnold handball it in his own area, blatant penalty, and go down the other end whilst the City players are protesting and score. We had Sterling score a perfectly good goal in the 2 years ago that was proven after the fact to be onside the year before VAR. So they have had so many dodgy decisions against us over the years. With 5 minutes, you could come up with at least a dozen bad decisions they've had against us. So honestly, we are owed so many times. So they can complain about who's high.
Are you gonna go through the dozen now?
Well, no,
we need things to talk about.
Yeah, well, no, but my point is. Yeah, and you know, well, I've named half a dozen already, and the simple fact, even at Anfield, the handball by Mo when he went and scored, was that last year or was that the year before, when he went, you know, Cancelo was marking him and he handballed it to control it, time and time and time again, and you know, the rest of most other supporters take it, you know, I guess the expression is take it like a man, but they take it, they accept that refs are fallible, and they get on with it. But Liverpool seem to want to hold a candlelit vigil, have candles, make official complaints, whine to every newspaper where anything goes against them. And you know, I saw a stat that Liverpool have had more penalties in the history of the Premier League than any other. Now, the simple fact is, based on possession time in the opponent box, United should definitely have had more penalties than anyone else, because you know they're the team ultimately who's been strongest over that time, and Liverpool have had more. So you know they get these decisions, and probably it's because of all this whining, because the referees, like probably Michael Oliver, can't go anywhere in Britain without a Scouser coming up to him and whinging. And you know, same with Kavanagh. It's basically bullying. They're just trying to bully the referees into falling in line for them, and it's pretty pathetic. And you know, honestly, I hope they continue with that, because if they do, they're not going to improve their team. And I think that's the main reason why Guardiola got so much more. He got 6 titles to Klopp's 1. Why? Because when City lost, Guardiola doesn't whinge. He doesn't look for excuses. He goes back to his team. He tries to see what mistakes he made himself. He tries to fix his mistakes. And then, you know, he goes and wins next game. Whereas Liverpool, Klopp spent the whole week whinging, and they forgot to fix their errors. But if you play well enough, you don't lose games on a referee's mistake, because you're 2 or 3 up. And, you know, long may it continue, because I think it's one of the biggest weaknesses in the Liverpool mentality, and it's now in their fans, it's now in their team. You look for excuses, and if you look for excuses instead of taking responsibility, you're never going to really succeed.
I mean, hey Rich, even that VAR decision, I'm surprised Van Dijk didn't get a yellow card, because he clapped right in front of the referee.
Yeah.
Do you see him clapping?
Yeah, and if he focused a bit more on his form,
he should have got a card.
A bit less on trying to be really clever to the refs, then maybe he'd be playing a bit better, and Liverpool wouldn't have conceded 17 goals this season.
Yeah, he's
You know,
shocking.
he's got too big for his boots. He's this season, his ego is not being matched by his performances.
Nah.
In the past,
I mean, Kanati's doing all the work for him.
Yeah. And I tell you who
I mean,
really,
I thought that was good. I thought that was good when Haaland, he sort of hung around Van Dijk, so Kanati had to kick the ball out, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was kicking long more than Van Dijk.
And I tell you what, if you know, the best chance for Liverpool to save their season is the AFCON, because Mo Salah was the worst player on that pitch. The support he gave to Mo Salah's performance allowed City to play.
Shocking.
He gave Bradley. He didn't even jog back 10 meters to help.
Didn't even get back.
So yeah. Bradley was having to be helped by Soboslai or Gravenbach, and every time they came over to help Bradley, their midfield was like the parting of the Red Sea. And so, you know, how he didn't hook Salah, because Salah was destroying Liverpool in that game. He really was.
I think he's just collecting the money this season, and that's it. He don't, you know, he don't see him on it at all.
Yeah,
Van Dijk's the same.
You know, Gakpo works harder than the rest of those attackers put together.
Yeah.
You know, but their mistake was selling Diaz, because Diaz worked his backside off for them.
That's right.
And I think it's what we said. They've got a lot of lazy players now. They haven't got their whole team for a decade has been based on hard work and excuses. And they've still got the excuses, but they haven't got the hard work.
Yeah. They've only got Soboslai, really, haven't they, who's been their best player. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Seems to be the only one that puts in 110% for him, really. I
mean,
just what I was saying, just looks like a huge drop off from what they were doing 12 months earlier. Yeah. Governor, we haven't had your thoughts on the Liverpool game, so you might be the first to kick off our little debrief anyway.
I'll hold my hands up.
Yeah.
Because I said in a chat, in a stream, I was saying, Doku can't shoot for Toffee. So I've got all my hands up. What a goal.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, he's a different player. He's growing and growing, coming inside. You know, when he hooks that line, he's no good out there. When he comes inside, he's so dangerous. So, had a great game. He probably damaged Bradley on that, you know, that game. But what a game he had, you know. They all did. I mean, they all stepped up. They all did.
Were you happy with the lineup?
Bernardo, again, he's everywhere. He's a different player. If we lose him next season, like we lose KDB, we always find someone else. But Bernardo, hard to do what he does, another player, because he is everywhere. He's probably Pep's most trusted player. He just lets him do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's so important.
It's really difficult to sort of explain to somebody, you know, who doesn't follow how City play what Bernardo is, but you know, and the way I probably use to compare it isn't exactly the best friend talking to anybody around the world, but I sort of look at him as like, you know, like in AFL terms or Aussie rules terms, like a little rover. Someone who's always around the edge of the play and that, and always offering like support, whether it's, you know, a crucial pass that starts a critical play, or being that pre-assist, or that, you know, that extra defensive man or something, just extra numbers, you know, to stop counterattacks and things like that. Like I know Martin, for example, has been waxing lyrical about it all season, but you do realize that we are really going to miss him when he's gone.
I know.
He's such a valuable piece, and I just hope that there is somebody in that squad who is picking up. Do
you think he might be tempted to stay for a year?
I've let the thought cross my mind occasionally this season, and
because
because in his mind,
he does what other players don't do.
He must think, but at his age, he might think he's got enough in the tank for another year or two before he can.
I know.
You know, before he heads back to Portugal. I know.
But I mean, if you're looking in front, if you jump the gun, I mean, with the players that will probably, if Bernardo, Kovo, and Ake go, I mean, we're going to have a couple more coming in there. So maybe it might be time. I don't know. You know, will he get pushed out? I know Pep trusts him, right? But if we're going to get two top line midfielders, next season.
It depends who we sign. The other thing that Pep's going to have to deal with is that at the moment there's no way you can't play Nico. So if Rodri comes back, there's got to be some kind of, some kind of thing going where, maybe Nico plays in the 8, maybe, in some games. Although I guess Foden's there. So
Foden's got it. Yeah. So I don't know where. I mean, would you see the day where they're going to play together, like Rodri and Nico?
Yeah, I said on Monday morning. I think places like Real Madrid away, against teams who really, if we play away in the Champions League knockouts, possibly when we go to Anfield and stuff, I think there's an argument to play them together. It's not like neither of them are like Makaleli, or they're both players who can pass, go forward, and attack. So, I think you could play them as 2 6/8s as long as they got used to it. One could go up a bit whilst the other one stayed back, and I think Nico's probably more naturally an 8, and Rodri's more naturally a 6. But I think you could, if you want to win the midfield.
Obviously, you can still do it because they're not going to be in that position for every game of the season, so they can swap and change. Foden, Nico, do you know what I mean? So
I mean, it's
depending who we're playing.
I think it should be a really, really big lesson this season to not picking on Alan here because he wasn't the only one with an agenda, but we had people on this channel writing off Nico Gonzalez, writing off Jeremy Doku, writing Jeremy Doku's soul. And I think, it's a lesson that it takes time. I think particularly to play in a Pep team, it takes time to really learn. And, it's pretty clear. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if you ever watched the US coverage on on the football, particularly on the Champions League. You sometimes see the US coverage. Thierry Henry's was on, and he was interviewing Doku this week, and he's actually played quite a role in mentoring Doku. And Doku, talks to him to get advice on football, and Henry was like, he thinks, Doku's ceiling is unbelievably high, but Doku needs to, the two things are what Doku needs to believe. Doku needs to realise he's good as he is. A bit like Pep says about Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob will flourish when Oscar Bob realises how good Oscar Bob is. And just adding goals and assists. But I think, getting that confidence. And the other thing, I mean, Doku said after the Liverpool game was he's feeling confident now because he's just playing naturally. He's taking risks. He's playing naturally. And he feels he's got Pep's support just to do things. And if it doesn't work,
he's getting a free roam, isn't he? He's not just sat on the wing, just sat there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and all the other clubs go about all the money. We've got 2 attacking midfielders playing fullbacks, and they look as good as any fullbacks in the Premier League at the moment.
That's right.
It's staggering, how good those 2 look. When Nico Rise is number 10, and at best Nunes is an attacking 8, and they're playing fullback, and they're looking like fullbacks. It's just mad.
And the left side, the left back situation is one that amuses me the most. Where we cried out for 10 years wanting a left back, we get one, goes down injured, and now he can't get back in the squad.
Personally,
it's weird. I think it's very typical City, but I am here for it every day of the week.
Personally, at the beginning, I didn't think it was a penalty, and the only down thing I've got about Doku is I thought he should have squared it to Haaland because he was there waiting, and Haaland threw his hands up in the air. But I mean, we got the penalty, but I thought he should have squared it to Haaland.
It was a pen, 100% a pen. You actually
at the beginning, I didn't think.
Because we said on the Monday show, Governor, we said the clip on the foot was dubious, but the clip on the knee was like the nail in the coffin.
Knee, Yeah, the more I
It's
seen
just a
it.
foot. It's just a foot. I wouldn't have complained if they played on.
Yeah. But I thought he should have squared it to, oh no.
The irony of Liverpool fans sending out a picture of a goalkeeper with his leg outstretched, studs up, saying, as a defence for it not being. If you take the picture as it looked like a red card. Now, it wasn't, but, you don't send a picture of someone with the leg outstretched, studs up, going at
They're
someone's
shameless.
ankle and say, oh, no, it's not a penalty. It's like, God's sake.
Mm.
And they also, and this, I don't know whether this was the screw up of, like, what was, but on the coverage, they showed only one angle, which Canate's in the way of it when his knee goes through him. And they showed that like 5 times as if that's what the referee was looking at. But then all the other coverage showed other angles, which very clearly
different
showed
angle.
the knee go. So I wasn't sure whether VAR was looking at the wrong angle or whether that was just the TV channels. But that was weird.
Yeah. And like you was mentioning, the fullbacks, our defence, they're just getting better and better, aren't they? We're getting more solid.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the crucial piece, because you've got Nico G and Mateus Nunes who have figured out what their role is, and that what that is doing now is allowing Doku to play that sort of further advanced inverted role that he's now doing now, where he's able to cut in and play inside more often, more like an inside forward than an out and out winger, and that's why he seems to be reaping more rewards now. And also,
Diaz,
defenders don't know how to mark him. They don't know if it's a right back duty or if it's a right centre back duty.
You see, Diaz, he never stops talking. Never stops talking. He's brilliant.
The irony is the worst player in our defence in the last couple of games has actually been Gvardiol, who was head and shoulders better than everyone else last season, the way through. He was actually the weakest of the 4 against Liverpool and, against Bournemouth. So, it's just amazing that he's gone from being head and shoulders the best by a mile to actually, looking weaker than the other 3 at the moment, which is a very good sign. Because I'm not sure his form's dropped off that much. He just looked a bit complacent. Because the only 2 players in that whole performance you could think didn't have their best games was Gvardiol and I think Cherki. And I think he got hooked by Pep to teach him a bit of a lesson.
I think he was trying too hard, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But he was a bit of a maverick as well, like standing on the ball, like getting it took off him. So I think Pep didn't like that.
That's when he got, I think it's happened like 4 or 5 times in the last week. And I think that's why he got hooked. Because like Pep's like, it'd be stupid to let Liverpool back in the game by being a bit slack. And actually, the way we're with their fullbacks, I could see an argument for starting with Savinho and Doku and just going at the fullbacks because that's their weakness. And it was interesting.
That's right. Just patience with Cherki, innit? He's got to get up to speed.
Oh yeah, I think Cherki will be. I think as a natural footballer, he's like King, the love child of David Silva and Georgie Kinkladze. He's not as good as David Silva, obviously, and he needs to learn to play football. But I think he's got the natural ability, and he's so young that he could become an absolutely phenomenal player because he has one thing that 99.9% of footballers don't have. He's completely 2-footed. And if you're an attacking player who's 2-footed, you're impossible to defend against because you don't know. Defender doesn't know if you're going left or right. They can't show you onto your weaker foot. So when he gets up to the speed of the league and stuff, he's going to be horrible. And I'd actually like to see him central because I think the 2-footedness is even more dangerous when you drift inside than if you're on the wing. Because if you're running at the centre of the penalty area and you can go right or left, you can pass right or left, you can shoot with your right or your left foot. That'd be awful to defend against.
Do you think? Do you think Slot is all right? We say he won the league with Klopp's team. Now he's got these new players in, and they're not balling for him. I can't understand I mean, I think Liverpool fans are going on about the subs. I can't understand. Isaac was fit, wasn't he? Why did he take Isaac and not put take Ekitike off and put Isaac on? I don't understand that.
Ekitike never got the ball, so why would Isaac have got the ball anymore? I mean,
Well, I mean, why take a striker off and
had the better form than Isak so far this season?
Put a midfielder on,
regardless of the injury. Yeah.
Throughout,
and then he put Wirtz in the false nine. Just put a striker on.
Started him on the left on paper and that, but he had him flat in as like a false nine. Yeah, especially in the second half.
Yeah. I don't understand Liverpool at the minute. Like Klopp's side, for so much of it was based on Firmino, who honestly was a very good footballer, but he could have played centre back. He was like a centre back playing up front, the way he pressed and defended. Mane was the hardest working player in the league, and you know, Salah was always a bit lazy, but he was younger and could run a bit and was lazy. But you had that incredible hard work in that team, and like that limit. Yeah, midfield was limited with Henderson and Fabinho, but they worked their arse off. And then, like, you know, obviously, you know, tragedy struck with Jota, who was incredibly hardworking. But then they sold Diaz, and Diaz
seriously underrated too.
Diaz was he pressed and worked his backside off. So last season, you played Liverpool, you couldn't play out the back very easily because you were just getting smashed by Diaz, and you know, and then this season, like I've never seen Isaac work hard. By all accounts, Ekitike doesn't work hard. You know, Salah is like now old and lazy, so even if he wanted to do it, he probably couldn't. He doesn't have the legs.
Yeah.
And
so you're saying they're lacking an enforcer at the moment, Rich?
I think, well, no, I'm saying they're lacking effort. They are like PSG were when they had Messi. I remember we played PSG and they had, was it Messi?
But it's full of egos, wasn't it?
And Mbappe, and you'd play against them, and they'd be back. City would have 9 players forward, and 3 or 4 of the PSG team hadn't come back, and you'd massively overwhelm them because Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar thought they could just stand on the halfway line and do it, and that's like Liverpool are now. And you can't. You've got to work. You know, Doku gets back and tries his best to defend. Savinho's trying to learn to get back and defend. Haaland's now working his arse off. Like the other week was it Brentford where he claimed about 6 corners defensively. So
defensive,
you cannot carry.
Haaland does it at both. When it comes to corners, Rich, Haaland does it at both sides of both ends of the pitch. Defensively, he is, and then when we're attacking corners, he's always like on the verge. Like if it's a short corner, he'll try and like do like the first ball through or something like that. He's always looking to create opportunities. You
might be able to carry one passenger. You know,
I think with Salah,
you can carry Salah. But
I think with Salah, I think he's No's got to put out a joint when they got the 2 main strikers, but they're doing nothing anyway. But I thought his No's got to put out a joint.
That was the same thing when they signed Darwin Núñez as well. Because you remember when they signed Darwin, he was forced to drop back a bit further. He wasn't allowed to play as advanced a role as he had previous seasons, and his numbers really sort of. I mean, he still ended up with a good season in terms of numbers, but they were nothing compared to like what he's done in his best seasons at Liverpool. I think when they get number 9s or players that are designated to start or position themselves more advanced than what Salah does, he just doesn't get the same. He doesn't get the same reception. He doesn't get the same service as he would when he was sort of front and center. Yeah, you've
got to work your heart out, and you know I think I'm not sure. You know, Kanati's having to do a lot of work, but I'm not sure his head's really in it. I mean, he wants out, doesn't he? He wanted out in the summer. He wants.
That's right. That's right.
So you've just got and one thing, time and time again, you know, Klopp's Liverpool was the only side that could outwork City. We'd go there to Anfield, and it'd look like City were lazy, and we were fit, strong, 90-minute team. Like we were unbelievable, but we would get bullied by the energy and the passion and the fight of Liverpool. And Slot's this summer, he's just decimated their secret sauce. He's decimated what made them what they were for 10 years. And he spent, the worst thing is, well, that's quite funny for us, but he spent £500,000 weakening their team. they're a considerably worse team now, as champions, having spent half a
Yeah.
million
Yeah.
quid.
Billion,
I mean, it's
billion,
you know,
billion.
half a billion. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's staggering. It's just staggering. And how he didn't hook Salah after half an hour. Whether he's got too much political power at the team, but he should
I
have
think he
hooked
does.
Salah, got
I think he
Gakpo
does.
on.
Yeah, I reckon he
I
has.
think he does. Yeah.
Gakpo would have helped out.
And it's the same thing with Isak and Wirtz. I think Isak's a different scenario because he's coming back from an injury.
Well,
But Wirtz, I think Wirtz's price tag demands that he starts every game.
Yeah, well, he's also his signing. You know, he personally sat down with Wirtz and told Wirtz how he'd play him and persuaded Wirtz why he shouldn't sign for Real Madrid or City or whatever. But you know, he's clearly not playing Wirtz as he said, because Liverpool were the team who promised Wirtz, you know, number 10, and he's not playing number 10.
That's what got me about Isak. I mean, they spend that money on him. If he's on the bench, he's fit. So I can't understand why they don't put him on. I just baffled me that. Even if you didn't get any joy, you're still striker for striker. You know what I mean? Why is he not getting on? I don't get it.
Well, just have a look here, actually. Just see what their bench was. I'll include players that didn't play and players that did come on. So they had Joe Gomez, Wataru Endo, Milos Kerkez, Isak, as we said, was on the bench. Chiesa, Curtis Jones, Cody Gakpo, Freddie Woodman, who I think is their second or third choice keeper, and he's probably in for the injured Alisson at the moment. And that young fella, I think he scored at Newcastle a few months ago, Rio Nguoma or something, I think it's called. I mean, I look at that, and straight off the bat for me, I like as you alluded to, I don't know about the whole situation with Alexander Isak. Maybe he's not quite, maybe not match fit, but yeah, like I said, he come back from an injury. Maybe he didn't want to play him. Chiesa seems to be the one that's showing a little bit more consistency than some of the players that started there on the pitch for them on Sunday. The other one that I found really surprising was I was surprised I didn't start Cody Gakpo. I think he's probably one of their most consistent players, not just this season, but probably going into a lot of last season as well too. So I looked at lineup. I looked at Gakpo not being there the same way as when we played Arsenal away when they didn't start Eze. I thought when I saw that, it gave me a lot more confidence, thinking we might be able to get something about that,
But I had a report, I think it was on one of the streams, about I can't understand why Isak was on the bench, because someone was saying about his groin. Yeah, he's got something to do with the bone and the groin. He was on the bench.
Yeah, because it didn't sound like it was going to be a big. It didn't sound like it was going to be something like a knock or something. We may miss 1 or 2 games. It was going to be something out for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Who knows?
But anyway, I just think we made a statement. It was a great win. We showed them no respect, and that's what we needed to do. We really desperately needed that. Great performance.
Yeah. I mean,
Kathy says, "Don't regret us not getting Wirtz." I am kind of curious to think how we would have utilised Wirtz.
Pep would have made him a better player.
Yeah, but I wonder to what extent, because then I start to wonder now. We wouldn't have Cherky, and I wonder where Phil Foden would sit in that.
Well, we probably would have got Wirtz before Cherky.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, if we got Cherky, if we got Wirtz, we wouldn't have got Cherky. But I just wonder, where does Phil Foden sit in all this?
I think Wirtz and Foden could play together. Foden can play 8. Either of them can play on the right wing. So. I mean, it's easy. Because
we've been seeing it firsthand for the last 5-6 weeks anyway.
I mean, we've got a manager. We've got a manager who could probably make Wirtz the best left back in the country. So
that's right.
I don't think you have to worry. I mean,
that's it. That's the thing with these managers and coaches or whatever. They're supposed to bring these players in and make them better. And it always seems Pep's the only one that sort of does it.
I just find it remarkable.
Eddie Howe's having trouble now. He should be making players better. Eddie Howe's having trouble now as well, with these players that he's brought in.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Howe's been he's been royally shafted. I mean, the fact Newcastle couldn't really sign players and had to lose Isaac and stuff.
Come at a bad time, didn't he?
Because let's be honest, Isaac left Newcastle for money and, the chance of more glory. Now, if Newcastle could spend a fair amount of money, he wouldn't have needed to leave to get Liverpool to join a better team, and he wouldn't have needed to leave Liverpool to get 350,000 a week. He could have got that at Newcastle. So
they would have built around him.
Howe's been screwed, and it must be so frustrating for him, because he can go 3 steps forward and then he has to go 2 steps back. Yeah. And I think he's certainly the best English manager by a country mile, and I just think Newcastle have been screwed. Same as Villa.
But I mean, this is where you earn your money, though, isn't it, Rich? This is how good a coach you can be with what you've got. Do you know what I mean?
But at the same time, you can be like Areola, phenomenal coach, but he's going to struggle to ever get better than 7th or 8th with Bournemouth, because he knows as soon as someone, Semenyo will probably go in January. As soon as you build a good player, they go. Yeah. And Newcastle have got, as soon as someone becomes truly world class at Newcastle, they go, because he's built a real, Newcastle got a really good core. I think their midfield,
that's right.
On form, their midfield is as good as any in the Premier League. They've got good players.
I said that last week, didn't I? We could get bullied.
Yeah, and if you've got players like Gordon and Isaac up front, you've got a good attack, but they just can't strengthen. The goalkeeper isn't as good as he should be in the Premier League. They need another centre back or 2. They need some cover in midfield. They need another. So they just can't improve because there's a ceiling on top of them.
And that's a plus that Dan Burn will be playing against us as well when we're going back.
Yeah,
you got the card.
Yeah, look, it is a while away, and we've got international breaks too, so anything can happen there. But I do look at Newcastle away with as much curiosity as I did say for Bournemouth and Liverpool, because yes, St James's Park has been a difficult place to go in the last couple of seasons, and justifiably so, because they have strengthened and they've turned that place into a fortress again. But they have been quite inconsistent this season.
Yeah.
Is anybody looking at, just given the form we've got at the moment, that this is maybe not necessarily looking at we're the favourites or anything like that, but I feel like we picked a good time of the season to be playing at St James's Park.
Yeah. No, we're doing all right. I wanted to stay under the radar, but looks like we're not now. But yeah, we keep playing like that. But Newcastle are hot and cold. When you go up there, you just don't know what you're going to get. So as long as we play our game, we'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll look forward to probably next week. We'll probably have some sort of link up with Baz from Black and White Eyes as well too. So there'll be plenty to preview about that next week anyway. But look, it's something to look forward to anyway. But can I go back? Have you seen the clip of when we played Brentford? And when Haaland scored, all the players ran over to the corner flag to celebrate, and Rodri turned round and stopped 2 players to stay on the pitch. And it was Diaz and Núñez. It was so clever. It was a clip. And as he was running towards Rodri, Rodri turned round and told them to stay on the pitch so they couldn't kick off. I know Donnarumma was in net, but there was if you got no players in our half, they couldn't kick off. So if all the players come off the pitch, they could have just kicked off. I thought it was a really clever move by Rodri. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, Rodri's.
Wow.
Rodri's smart.
And what happened was that Diaz and Núñez celebrated together at the corner flag, still on the pitch. And then they all came over to him after. It was a smart move.
I think it's quite funny too, because I think I don't know who assisted Haaland in that goal, but I definitely don't think it was Núñez or Diaz. So it's funny to see 2 players on the pitch away from
No,
Yeah, he just
the major goal contributors just off
you
celebrating.
could see him
somewhere else.
turn around and say, "You stay there on the pitch, stay," and they
you
stay.
mean the goal against Liverpool? It was Nunes. Nunes crossed it.
No. He's talking about Brentford. This
Oh,
was at
Brentford.
a few weeks ago.
Brentford.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all ran over, and the only two players was Dennis and Rodri stopped him coming off the pitch.
Yeah.
It
Interesting.
was so clever.
Yeah, is that like an original rule, or is that something that's sort of changed in recent years with?
Well, as long as if you're still in their half, they can't kick off. But if all players are not on the pitch, they can just kick off. Donnarumma's in his own half.
Okay.
Yeah, it happened in a game.
So in that case, it was a good that none of the players caught up with Adebayor when he celebrated in front of the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, it happened a couple of years ago in, I can't remember, it's in France or somewhere, where a team got a goal because of doing that.
And they forgot.
It's like that great footage of the goal that a team scored where a guy, the whistle had gone for a corner and a guy went down as if he walked down to the ball and then walked away as if he was going to not take the corner and just tap the ball.
But he tapped it.
The next player, he tapped it, and then the next player comes down and basically charges into the box with the ball and scores. Because
the ball was live, wasn't it?
Yeah. The ball had gone live about 10 seconds before anyone else on the pitch, apart from the two players, realised, and they got a goal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sounds like something that would have happened to City in the 90s.
Oh, but that's I couldn't believe that when Rodri turned around and stopped him. Brilliant.
I still think my favourite City one was when we lost 1-0 at home to Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough didn't have a shot on target.
Richard done a goal?
It's got to be a done goal. Yeah, they didn't have a shot on target and won the game, and he's like, the only City.
Yeah,
only City.
Didn't we do something similar when we played Bolton? I think it was about, it would have been about 05, 06 or something. I think it was an own goal or something. I think we hit the woodwork about 6 times in that game or something.
Yeah, there was
an awful one against Bolton that we did something similar.
And there was one where we lost. There was one where we lost because of the ball in the balloons.
Ball in the balloons, yeah.
Wasn't it? Was that Sheffield United? When there were all the balloons on the pitch and the ball got caught up in them and beach balls and stuff.
And the ball hit the balloon.
Sarah remembers it came off Danny Shin. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a favourite of mine, Richard Dunn. Very good player.
Yeah.
Good for own goals.
He was a Ballon d'Or of own goals, but yeah.
Yeah. I always love a player who's carrying a few more pounds whilst they're playing as well. Like the size of his shorts.
Could have been a dart player.
He did seem to turn his career around a little bit more when Kevin Keegan came in, though, because he did say he was a bit too much of a party boy. But then I think Keegan came in sort of straightened.
Would he have the record?
Well, straighten him out by 2000s football standards. Yeah.
No, I think I don't know that Kevin Keegan had a particularly sober football team playing for him. I think they were out hardcore. Didn't he put one of the? I thought the story was that he put Steve Howe in charge of player discipline, and he was one of the biggest drinkers football had seen. He could. Some of the stories out in Newcastle where he could knock back 20 odd pints.
Rich, I don't know. It seemed to work because you remember that first season when we came back to the Premier League for good. We got that ticket to the UEFA Cup because we had the least yellow cards or the least cards of any European team. So
TNS, and we played TNS Network Solutions, didn't we?
So everybody's getting that. No. TNS, or was it the Belgian side? I've forgotten it. Chat. I'm gonna have to Google it, but Chat knows what I'm talking about. We had to play a Belgian side. TNS wasn't TNS a couple of years later when we got into.
That was after the David James, whatever. I remember going to TNS Network Solutions.
My memory's shocking. I don't know how you remember these games because I'm shocking with games.
Oh, don't worry.
I used to go home and away, and I can't remember half of them.
Because a lot of the Saturday nights that I remember trying to watch City was the same nights that I was promoting nightclubs. So, Even if I could watch it, I'd be barely watching it one eye open, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
Yeah, no, TNS was August 2003. So that was in that was.
Oh, so that's right. We beat TNS, and then I think we played.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look at it now because it's bloody
Because you had to go. If you won the fair play, you had to go into a qualifying round.
No, that's right. We played Lokeren. It was Lokeren.
Yeah, but that was after TNS.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, after here Belgian. It was Lokeren. I remember it now. Yeah.
Lokeren. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A few people said that was actually a good away day, but then again, every away day in Belgium's always been good anyway. So, yeah, that's right. They played TNS in the qualifying. Then first round we beat Lokeren 4-2, and then we got knocked out by the Polish side, Grossen Discobolia, I think it is. Yeah, I'll do a better job than Martin anyway. But guys, looking at the fixtures, like what we've just done over the last week or so. I mean, a really good performance against Bournemouth, really good performance against Dortmund to pretty much keep us well settled into the top 8 now in the Champions League. And then this performance now, I mean, has your thoughts or perceptions changed on how we're looking for the season? I mean, obviously it's a far cry from what we were after 3 match days in the league, but I think, are we riding a crested wave of over optimism at the moment, or is this just gradually building confidence because we're doing some good things right now?
Tell me where I've got to go. We had a review on the Mancunian Way a month ago where we said what's going to happen this season. I said we're going to win the domestic treble in the Champions League. Tell me where I've got to go to become more optimistic. I stand by. I still think we're going to win the quad. I just think a few more people believe me because I don't think anyone did a month ago because everything's coming together like it did in the Centurion season where, having a midfielder at left back is a winning thing for City. We're starting to see the directness, the attacking at pace and everything else. And I think we've got the strongest, in terms of the number of players, I think we've got a strong young squad. And I think we've had, even in 23-24, we had, maybe 14, 15 players who we really trusted. I think now we're probably going to be this season up to 17, 18 players we trust, which is going back to 17, 18. And, I look at Arsenal and they're basically a rich man's Tony Pulis' steak. I mean, their game is based around tough defending, long throw-ins, free kicks, corners, most of which is not about, it's about how much you can bully the opponent. I mean, you look at their tactics against us at the Etihad last season, put 2 players to try and wrestle Ederson to the ground and poke the ball in. I mean, so everyone's going on about Arsenal. People going about boring Arsenal 30 years ago. I think they're going to be boring Arsenal this season. I mean, it was Rory Delap was a novelty, 25 years ago. Now it's just like, and I loved Sunderland putting those advertising hoardings about a metre from the pitch so that they couldn't take the long throw-ins.
Yeah, that was a good,
Everyone should do that,
Yeah.
But, no one's calling them out for it, though. No one's calling out Arsenal for being anti-football. And I'm surprised.
I think you just got to deal with it, Rich. I don't care how you score a goal. I think you just have to deal with it. If they're going to do it, you deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, but you don't.
I don't think boring, but it's just another way of scoring.
Yeah, you don't want, Jack Charlton, Arteta winning the bloody Premier League, do you? It's not good. It's not good for their.
I know what you're saying that way, yeah. But I think we'll win the league. I think we'll win the league. And I think anything else after that is a bonus. I always said if we're still there at Christmas, don't bet against us.
Oh, God, we can still be there in March.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we're in the league.
Absolutely incredible between now and say February.
The league's the hardest thing to win. The Champions League will be easier to win than the league this season.
Yeah.
Because I think what you're seeing in the Champions League that there's every chance all 6 English teams could finish in the top 10, and that's going to be a kick in the nuts for UEFA. But it's going to be interesting, Arsenal against Bayern Munich, because that's really going to show, if Arsenal get a good result against Bayern and then we get a good result against Real Madrid, they're going to be really worried that their top European sides are starting to fall behind the English clubs.
Yeah, well, I'm really curious to see the Arsenal Bayern game too, because it's safe to say that they're probably Arsenal. Yeah, probably the bet. Probably
I don't know.
an argument after this weekend, but Arsenal's probably the best form side
Bayern
at the moment, and Bayern's the most form side in Europe. So I'm really, really curious to see how that performance goes. But
if we just
have a quick look at the league fixtures actually coming up, we've got to say, we've got some decent fixtures there too, but nowhere near as probably difficult as what Arsenal have. I mean, when we play Newcastle, they've got to go. They've got the North London derby. Anything goes with that, of course. And then they've got the Chelsea away wedged in between, with the Bayern match wedged in between. Then they have Brentford visit the Emirates after that. Brentford plucky, and Aston Villa away.
You say anything goes, Pat, but I think that the North London derby is a bit like the Manchester derby in the 80s and the 90s. I don't. When's the last time Tottenham? They get the odd win every 10 games. They don't usually compete in it. So Tottenham are going to have to turn around and play very, very differently. Chelsea give Arsenal a game. That's not going to be easy. And that's one thing Arsenal, that's one disadvantage Arsenal have is Arsenal effectively get to play 10 away games based at home because, they play half the league or in or around London, and they can effectively play them from the home base, the home training, treat the game the same as they do a home match, which is an advantage. But the downside of that is you're playing a local rival who hates you and, a bit more vocal support against you than perhaps other teams do. Because really we've got, I guess we've really got Leeds, United, Liverpool, Everton, where there's, and a couple of teams, not that far away, but they've got all those London teams, all of whom will want to beat Arsenal.
I think Chelsea away at the end of November will be a very interesting fixture. Because I know Chelsea can be a little bit hot and cold, but they turned up against Liverpool.
Chelsea could beat them, and they could lose 4-0. With Chelsea, you don't know what you're going to get.
You don't know what you're getting with them.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Just on another side note, Rich and I were just coming off the back of quite a busy weekend. We went and saw Oasis toured here in Sydney over the weekend as well. So we thought we'd just quickly have our say on that. Of course, anybody out there who went and saw Oasis during this tour, big up yourselves. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We certainly did. And fingers crossed, those that didn't get to go, you'll be able to see them hopefully next year if the rumours are true. They are meant to be doing a UK EU tour in 2026. But some highlights for you, mate. First of all, never mind, taking you back to your younger years. You obviously had a cracking start to the weekend with beating a certain Mr. Spencer Pryor out of the golf course.
Yeah. He had a back injury.
Oh, from too much hacking.
So it's quite funny because for those who love golf, Spencer would take about a foot-long divot, and I'm not taking enough divot. I'm almost like scooping the ball off the grass without hurting a blade, which isn't good. And he's doing the complete opposite. And I think, if we could,
which is all right on the fairway, but when you're in a greenside bunker, it's a bit of a you're playing a risk. Yeah.
If we could create the composite golf for the two of us, then I tell you what, Rory would be in trouble.
Oh God! I wish I could play it, but I'm a hacker.
Yeah. Shout out to Keely. He made the trek up from Tasmania to Sydney this weekend for the show as well too. As I said, apologies we weren't able to hang out. I know you weren't feeling the best, but hope you're on the mend now anyway, mate. But we'll look forward to hopefully catch up soon. But that's all good. Yeah, I've got to say, just for me, it was just a spectacular couple of days. But the thing that stood out for me the most was I mean, and it's something that is every time we have an event, and it doesn't matter if it's Oasis related, it's Manchester related, City related, it's football related. The amount of City shirts you see now out in the general public, it just blows the mind. And I spent plenty of time in the city. I spent plenty of time around Olympic Park, where the stadium was, and just everywhere was just a spectrum of just blue shirts and offshoots, away kits as well. Everybody was there. I mean,
that was a nice touch. That was a nice touch of the Sydney Supporters Club on the scarf on Pep.
Yes, which is. I wish Macca was in. Apologies, Macca can't make it tonight. He's actually just in business meetings at the moment. But yeah, it was incredible the story he was telling us. He happened to be just walking around down at the Rocks, like down in Sydney Harbour on the Friday morning before the first show, and happened to have one of our supporter club scarves on him. And he actually ran into Noel Gallagher, who was just out walking with his kids and that. And,
see, you mean he was stalking outside their hotel? Because they all, although Liam wasn't staying at the hotel, because they always stayed at the Hyatt down at the Rocks.
Yeah, I think Noel was at the Hyatt, but apparently Liam was at some retreat out of town. Yeah, some health retreat or something.
No, an actor's place. Someone's house.
Yeah. Okay. Some retreat out like outside the metro area. Yeah, that's sort of how he's been touring anyway. I think.
Yeah, well, he did say he did an interview on the weekend where he basically said he reckons the tour saved his life because he's basically stopped drinking, smoking, and taking drugs for the tour so that he can perform and everything else. And he thinks his age, because I didn't realize he's had Hashimoto's disease, he's got arthritis, so he's becoming a proper old man. And so he's. But he did make me laugh, his comment on Sydney, top gaff.
Yeah, top gaff.
Yeah.
So I was saying to Pat about them cringy jokes that he was saying. I can't get over them.
Blossom the Possum and Ringo the Dingo.
So Sydney had Ringo the Dingo and Blossom the Possum.
That's crazy.
Trying to remember who else it was.
And I love the fact he had a lifeguard's hat on one day and a cork hat the other.
Yeah. I've seen them in 06 in Melbourne.
Yeah, because he's had Hashimoto's, which basically burns out your thyroid, and that's supposed to be quite bad for your voice. So he's obviously having to look after it quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, he said in the Supersonic documentary, he said even from the get-go when they first formed in like 92, 93 or whatever it was, where he said that's just the way he sings. He just canes it. That's how he gets. Yeah, there's not many singers who have to sing powerfully to be melodic, but for him to be as melodic as he was in his younger age, he had to be like that. So it's a bit. It might be seen. I don't know if it's sort of a rock and roll sort of thing way to sing, but you're always going to struggle with longevity and everything with your voice and that. But he's doing the right thing if he wants to continue touring and. He's been letting on for years that for many years that it's something that he wants to continue doing. I think he was as much about getting back together as probably the rest of the world was getting back together. But I tell you what, we're getting towards the end of the Live 25 tour, which I think will be finished by the end of this month. But I think the big curiosity now is not just the potential tour, rumored tour for 2026, but I think everybody's looking forward to seeing the documentaries and the Netflix specials about the reunion and how it all came together and everything. And I think we're all very, very excited about that.
Because Liam said see you next year at the end of the concert on Saturday.
Okay.
So
he said at Wembley as well. But
it doesn't mean he could easily tour on his own again. Like they could do some concerts as Oasis, but he could come back to because at the end of the day. He could probably now go and sell out a core instead of, not a core, the arena next to it, whatever that's called now, rather than playing where he did. So, they'll probably tour together again, but they'll also probably tour with their own stuff. And honestly, the one thing about when Liam tours on his own, when he sings an Oasis song, he's got musicians. Most of the Oasis music is not so complicated. A really good musician can't play it, And when he's got people like Gem Archer and Andy Bell playing with him anyway, you know, Liam can go and tour and perform a lot of the stuff. And it won't sound that different to going to an Oasis gig.
Yeah.
Kathy says,
I remember
Argentina for the audience, and I think I said that to you, Rich, over the weekend. I said that River Plate Stadium for the 2 shows that they're doing there would be incredible. Not just because of the stadium itself, but
that would be crazy.
You hear around this, say Argentina or Buenos Aires has some of the best rock and roll crowds in the world. So I think it'll be absolutely spectacular to see. And you see, I don't know if you follow some of those away day pages on social media, but you got lads who are visiting, from Manchester and parts of the UK, and they just come off the back of watching the derby between Boca and River Plate, and then they're just partying it up, living it up in Buenos Aires for a week, and then they get to see Oasis. I think that's pretty incredible. That just sounds like an incredible trip to me.
I remember the boys just as they came on the scene, and I used to see them at away matches regular. Few away games I've seen them. I remember Oxford, they're in the pub, just playing cards, having a beer. I remember I've seen them a few times. But that was when they just come on the scene, and you sort of knew him. You could see him over the other side of the pub, and there's Liam and there's Noel. But that was at the beginning.
Noel still loves the away days.
Noel goes.
Yeah, he doesn't like the Etihad. He's still very main road at heart when it comes to home games.
But he still goes to the Etihad quite a bit because he goes and
Noel loves the away days. Liam, as we see, he's always in the crowd. Yeah.
Liam doesn't go back to Manchester that much. Full stop. He goes and watches them in London, but
if they play at Wembley, he's there for sure. Yeah, agree. Keely says, I was thinking, I wonder if they try and do MCG next year. I think if they were going to do MCG for Melbourne tour, it would have been this tour.
I must admit,
isn't ACDC's playing at the G, I think, next weekend.
I have to say, I'm not convinced by the MCG as a venue. I mean,
it's a spectacular venue to be in, but it's very specific about,
Yeah, it's a rubbish place to watch cricket because even down the front, you can't see the bloody ball. Like, honestly, I mean, I've not been to the Gabba yet, but the SCG in Adelaide are miles better to watch cricket than the MCG. And when it's got 60,
I'm always pissed anyway. Bay 13, you can't see much.
You go to the MCG for the experience because Boxing Day is amazing. 100,000 people at a cricket game is an amazing experience, but you won't actually see any cricket because it's going to be 2 tiny dots chasing a tiny dot you can't even see. And I'd imagine I've been there for an Anzac Day game, Collingwood, Essendon. Brilliant atmosphere, but again, it's such a big pitch. It's not as good to watch the actual game as marvelous to actually watch the AFL game. So I don't know what it would be like sound wise. I'm not sure.
I don't think it would be.
Rich, if you want my opinion for sports or entertainment, I still think the best stadium is Suncorp up in Brisbane.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to the SCG for a concert, and cricket grounds are not good for music concerts. I think stadiums are a bit more enclosed for the noise, the atmosphere, the
and for that reason, like Suncorp's a bit more multi-purpose. I think it just clips on 50k for seats.
Where I'd love to see a game would be Cardiff with the roof on. A concert there. That would be magic. Because I've been there for rugby, and like that, the noise in there is amazing. I think I'd love to go and see like someone like Oasis playing Cardiff with the roof on because I think that would be incredible.
Yeah. Keely thought Accor Stadium was unreal. I mean, I've got to say the acoustics was pretty good in there, and you could hear the crowd. You could hear the crowd from every angle as well too. So they did sound very, very good. I don't know if Keely feels the same about it, but I think so. Keely would be too young to remember, but when it was the setup with the Olympics where you had the open tiers at both ends, it was pretty spectacular. But it's not a good place for football. Like if anybody wants an idea of what football is like at the Olympic Stadium, it's like going to West Ham away at the London Stadium. You can be in the front row and you still need binoculars to watch, even just play at the close.
Talking about that, Pat, talking about West Ham, I was going to ask this question. Why can't West Ham do what we did
Dig
when it
down.
was the City of Manchester Stadium. You know, bring it in. Like they did it.
No, what I mean
it.
is like with the Etihad, what they dug down so they can make it more amphitheatre, because the pitch is actually below ground. If you go to the Etihad, the first ring like that says Etihad around it, like before the ground level seats, that's ground level outside the ground.
Couldn't they do that?
What they did was they didn't just like flatten out and say, all right, you're sitting here and then you're miles away from the action. They dug down so they could create more of an amphitheatre situation. That's why I said the Etihad. People have problems with the Etihad about saying like, oh, it's too big or it's too open and that. It's like, no, I think it creates more of a bowl effect, more of an amphitheatre.
I just thought West Ham could do the same thing with their stadium.
I totally agree with you too. But I wonder what sorts of politics are involved with the London Stadium, because I don't know if Gold and Sullivan, the owners, you know, the others who own West Ham, have as much a say in that stadium as, say, maybe City Football Group does or ADUG does with the Manchester City Council, because you know they have so much more involvement with the local community around there as well as what, say, West Ham probably would have with the community around the London Stadium. Because I think, what's the area around what's it called again? Is it Stratford? I think it's called Stratford around the London Stadium. Yeah.
I don't know.
So you wonder if like they're probably just at the mercy of like the London Council, or you know,
because their fans don't like it one bit, did they?
No. But I get what you're saying. If they followed a similar suit to the Etihad and dug down, it would definitely create a better atmosphere. And I mean, you know, you could probably never compare it to Upton Park or, you know, the Bowling or anything like that. But at least it would allow the fans to be able to create their own atmosphere, maybe build a new soul there, a new home or something like that. But, you know, when you talk about, you know, that, I mean, it's bad enough when we're hearing about season ticket holders, you know, from City, you know, walking away because the numbers are starting to drop and people have been moved out for new venues and bars and corporate boxes and things like that. But I mean, I think it's more of an awful situation when, you know, teams have been moved into a stadium and it just becomes soulless overnight because they're not thinking about the fans' best interests.
Gav, you'll remember, but Wembley Stadium had a dog track.
That's right. Yeah.
They had a dog track around the the national stadium. That. So you know, there's a history of that.
If dog races on at the same time.
Yeah.
Did you? Did you at the? Did you go to the 81 final with Tottenham?
No, I was too young. I was
there. I was there Saturday, and I went to the replay on the Thursday night as well. Yeah. But on the Saturday, I was in the stand, and obviously it's concrete stand, and it was I've never felt it before. It was bouncing the concrete. I've never felt that before in a stadium, but the concrete was bouncing underneath me at Wembley. I couldn't believe it, mate. I've never experienced that before. It was moving.
Yeah. Governor, did you go to the full members as well in '86?
Yes. That was the quickest hat-trick at Wembley, wasn't it? Mark Lillis. Full members cup final against Chelsea.
Oh, he went from 5-1 to 5-4 or something, yeah?
Yeah, Mark Lillis got the quickest hat-trick. I don't know how many minutes.
And we played, didn't we play the Derby the day before?
I can't remember.
I'm sure the full members.
That's where my memory's gone. But I remember the final.
It was a day after we played. I'm sure it was like Chelsea and City played 24 hours before, or something mad like that.
Yeah. And Thursday night, was a bad one. That was a lot of trouble that night. I know.
Yeah, it's crazy how they did that back then, where you could play 24 hours before, and you know, what was the 80s like back then? There wasn't so much thing as squad rotation, was there, as there is today? Is there?
Nah.
No.
I
mean, it was completely non-existent in the 60s. You know, 50s, 60s.
It was fit, you played. That was it.
Yeah, you fit, you played, basically. So
imagine that though. You play, because I think it was a Sunday afternoon. I think both City and Chelsea had to play on the Saturday afternoon. So City would have played in Manchester, had to play, get shouted, you know, probably go down the night after you've played, unless you get up really early and go down in the morning. So you play in a final at Wembley the day after.
Yeah,
like that. When people today go, and they did that with one substitute. So it wasn't like you could, you know, rest a lot of players. So the chances are probably 8 or 9, 10 players played Saturday afternoon and then played Sunday afternoon in a Wembley final.
Yeah. And I'm with Alan. I still call it the League Cup. All these stupid names that they give it all the time, and it was a major trophy, and it still is to me. You know, it's still the League Cup to me.
It's a major. I've always considered the League Cup a major trophy. And that's not just because of rival fans sort of pushing it aside. You know, just because we took it seriously, won 4 in a row. But no, I think there's something for it, and we showed it. Like, what was it? The four seasons we won it in a row. Only one of those seasons we didn't go on and win the league.
The League Cup was a big cup. It was a big thing, you know, years ago. But
yeah, I'd be curious to know just how serious clubs took it when it was in the early days of its existence. Because, well, I think it came in at right at the start of the 60s or something. I'd be curious to know if anybody was around that time would know if it was something that, you know, did they hold it in high regard from the get-go, or was it maybe something you considered serious once the team actually started winning it or anything? I mean, it came in 1960, 61, and I believe we won our first one in about 68, 70 or something. Would have been our first one.
2 years old then.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it'd be curious. I'd love to know if we get anybody on the show or anybody in the chat who knows or knows anything about what the sort of feeling around the fan base back in those eras was like with new trophies, because obviously everybody has mixed emotions about like the Europa Conference League and things like that, and I mean,
but them 2 goals for me.
Second year of existence, and West Ham won it, so it means something to them.
Yeah. Them 2 goals for me have stuck in my mind all my life. Tommy Hutchinson and Steve McKenzie's. Tommy Hutchinson, he looked about 70, Tommy Hutchinson, when he was playing. But Steve McKenzie's volley, they still say it's one of the best goals at Wembley. But there you go.
There you go, Gavin. DJ and just said the agreement is they must leave space for the running track. So they're at the mercy of a possible athletics world championships every 4 years.
Oh,
and it ruins the atmosphere for every 2 weeks for a West Ham fan. I do feel, I really, really do feel for them. But
yeah,
no, it's all good, guys. I think we'll wrap it up. We've been going for just over an hour anyway. But big up to everybody.
We played at Old Trafford on the Saturday afternoon, and then we played Chelsea at Wembley the next day.
There you go.
And most of the team was the same.
Just say no one's whinging about playing too many games then, was there?
Yeah. I would just say it was
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure having you both on. Big up to everybody in the chat as well too. Thank you for your contributions and your insights. Obviously, it is going to be a slow 10 to 14 days coming up as well. And of course, the first thing we say is we hope all our players come back fit and healthy and ready to continue this great form that we've got.
That's tempting fate. The 115 is going to drop tomorrow now.
We'll see everybody tomorrow for the 24-hour stream. Get your sick notes out. Get your sick calls into work. You're not going in. You can't go in. It's not, you're not doing yourself any favors because it's going to be playing on your mind. And Rich, chances are you'll be seeing the number 115 popping up all around work as well too.
I hope it doesn't happen. I'm in Brisbane Friday. I'm picking my daughter up. She's coming back from England, so I hope it doesn't happen then.
Yeah. Does she live over there, or she just coming down to visit?
She's been there for 2 years now, 2.5 years, I think. Yeah. So nice. She's coming back, so that's good.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Just looking forward to the rest of the week. I don't know if we've got stateside blues, but just keep an eye out because usually Martin just pops that up about 12 hours before they start. So, but if the American lads are deciding just to have a week off, I totally understand. We'll probably do the same next week as well too, but it all depends what the majority want to do anyway. So we'll take it from there. Until then, we'll probably see you for Thursday night chat. I'm not sure what Martin's got in store, but I'm sure we'll probably have a bit of fun given it's the international break anyway. Just hope that Erling Haaland, our only goal scorer, according to the rest of the league, is just plays the one and done, gets him qualified against Estonia, and then he's on that first flight back to Manchester. So, that's all I hope for from this international break. The rest of the players can all be wrapped up in cotton wool. John Stones, please don't play just don't play.
Yeah, and for everyone, I've just found there's a fantastic article in the Manchester Evening News about that famous weekend where we came back from 2-0 at Old Trafford to stop. It's actually possibly cost United the league, and went down to London the next day and nearly came from 5-1 down. You know, and you know, people win today. You play away in a Manchester derby, and you play a cup final in 26-hour period, and that's when with one sub, who you could basically, you know, only risk using if someone broke the leg or something.
Yeah. And then you get a game like that.
Yeah. It just seems like such a parallel universe in football, though, compared to today. It's remarkable. Yeah, let's leave it at that anyway. Rich, any parting quotes? Anything else? Any more history?
No, but I think that's it. You know, I think it's time we got back to main road memories and got some of the stories of the past back, because I think there's just so many funny, you know, classic things, that City stories over the years, classic games, you know, just mad. You know, to today's fans, it is mad. The idea you play 2 games in 24
hours. Maybe we'll be back for Blues Down Under next week, because we'll make sure we get Macca and Alan on, because I think we'll go down a bit.
Yeah, Alan, Macca, Governor. There's a lot of people who've got a lot of good stories. You know, and they can be, some of them can be just personal stories at a nothing game that was just funny
ones as well.
You know, or just just the ridiculousness of being a fan. But
see DJ Enstat just here, Rich. Look at this.
Yeah.
18 times 40, I pay 111 the same thing.
Haaland's ability to stay on side is just incredible.
Brilliant.
Haaland, I've never seen an elite striker who is as good at being on side as Haaland. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Mo Salah was probably offside as much in the game on Saturday as Haaland's been since he joined the Premier League. You know, often you'll go a couple of games and Haaland won't be offside. 3 or 4 games and he won't have one offside against him.
Meanwhile, Gabriel Jesus, players like Gabriel Jesus used to have one every 10 minutes.
And then saying I've said this before, and the worst ones for offsides were Sterling and Mahrez. More Sterling than Mahrez, but they were so frustrating.
Yeah, he's amazing how he just stays on the side.
That's right.
Every time.
Yeah.
And you know,
all we ask for from him is to please stay healthy, and that goes to all the other squad members as well too. But we'll leave it at that anyway. Big thanks to all. Big thanks to you, Rich. Thanks to Governor for coming on again.
Yeah. Do you think O'Reilly's going to play? I think O'Reilly might make his debut in one of the games.
Yeah, he might do. Yeah.
Good shout.
If I was,
I hope it's a dead rubber, or it's
honestly, I think he's the best left back in the Premier League this season so far, and he's definitely the best English left back. So I think, and if you're going to take him to the World Cup, and if you're going to play him, he needs to get games in now. So I'd be expecting him to start one of the
I think Tuchel will have a look at him.
Yeah. Because I think the last international break was just a chance for him just to experience being around the England squad. Now I think it's a good opportunity for him to.
I don't know if you've seen an interview with him after the game, but he basically got interviewed after the Liverpool game, and he basically said, "I've spent a lot of time this week studying Mo Salah, so I knew exactly what I needed to do to keep him quiet." And he basically said, "I studied it," and he could have come off. Pep was asking him to come off all the bloody time. And he's staying on because he looked injured 20 minutes in, and he played the whole game. Maybe he'll pull out the England squad. Maybe he has got a calf problem, but he stayed on, and he pocketed. I mean, he pocketed Salah.
That's right. Yeah.
And you know, and I think he, you know, he's done that a few times in recent weeks. So I think Tuchel should have a look at him, because it's a problem position for England, and I think
Definitely.
he gives them strength, energy, pace, everything they could want. He is a bit like without the injuries, he's a bit like Reece James could have been, or Reece James when he first came out for Chelsea. Like good going forwards, good in the tackle, strong, fast. And Reece James I thought was going to be, the next, replace Walker and play 150 times for England and in injuries.
I like it. I like his temperament. He's calm on the ball, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
football intelligence is beyond his years. That's for sure.
Oh, his intelligence is incredible. Like the way he combines with Doku, you'd think they played together for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Governor,
So that's
any last thoughts, mate?
For the week. O'Reilly for England.
O'Reilly for England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really. But hopefully, I can't wait. Newcastle game. I think we'll play well up there. Just hope they all stay fit. And that's it, really.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yes. Big up to
all
everybody here. As I think we all are in agreement. Yes, we all want them to come back fit and healthy because we're playing good football at the moment and looking forward to this very busy festive period and Premier League schedule for sure, guys. So we'll leave it at that. We'll more than likely see you back for Thursday night chats. Until then, I've been your host, Pat. This is another episode of Blues Down Under. And once, as we always say, up the Blues. Go on, City.
Come on.
Take care, lads.
And scout.